How does onboarding impact the performance of an employee? You can predict an employee's performance based on what happens in the first week. It's not just about training, it's how they feel at the end of day 3. I'll share a small shift in onboarding that completely transformed a team's output. By the end of this video, you will see how correct onboarding will result in high-performing employees and what to change if it's not going that way. The way that you onboard an employee can be the make-break between a productive employee and an employee that is dissatisfied and might not stick around. Having a good onboarding procedure and training and taking care of the employee from the get-go will create that clarity and the care that will lead to high performance by that employee. It's also a great time to establish the culture fit, showing the employee the culture of your organization and also making sure that the new employee fits your culture. It's also a great time to build accountability and showing the employee how you operate, what are your systems, your processes, your procedures, how you do things, and also showing how you hold people accountable and the expectations. Having a well-defined onboarding process and taking the new employee through that builds the confidence of the employee that they made the right decision. And it also builds your confidence that the employee matches your culture and will be able to create the results. Now, on the other hand, if you have poor onboarding, that results in confused employees, poor performance, poor results. You might be holding on to an employee that is not a good fit for you for too long, or it will result in the employee quitting and low retention. So here are some things that you have to have in place in order for your onboarding to be effective and in order to ensure that the employees are performing to your standards after the onboarding period. The first thing is that you have to define your processes and procedures that the employees are going to use. So you have to have them documented and then create an onboarding plan, an onboarding checklist where the employees are going to refer to those processes, get trained on those processes, and understand how to execute them. One thing that is very important, and that is one shift that we created in an onboarding process for a company we were working with that created a huge difference, is that we identified milestones throughout the onboarding process. And then you can reverse engineer from there what are the actions that the new employee has to go through and what are the training that you have to train them through in order to achieve those milestones. But those milestones did not only have the output that you are expecting, but also key competencies that you want the new employee to achieve at the end of the onboarding of that milestone. So for instance, let's say you are training an employee on specific duties. The first milestone will be to create the output of those duties, but also having the competencies of the competency can be being able to do it by themselves without any help, or producing that particular result 3 times in a row without any errors. Those competencies that you are describing can also be tied to your culture. So you can take your core values and train the employee on those core values by giving examples, by showing them videos, by tying back the actions to your core values. Let's say you are working with them on how to service a certain client, and you can refer back, see, in this and this, here and here and here, we used our core values. This is how they manifest themselves. So you train them on that. And one of the core competencies that you want to see at the end, let's say, of milestone number 4 that you define is adherence to core values and showing our core values. When you do that, that is training for specific output for their position, but also make sure that there is a cultural fit and the employee understands how you bring your core values to life and how you live your culture. So you can measure with those core competencies at the end of each milestone, both production, productivity, and adherence and fit to your culture. Another important thing is that while you are training them and you are onboarding them, if you want to have a positive effect on their production, you have to make sure that there are touch points, communication points, and that you really care about your employee. Onboarding is not just about the training. It's also how the employee feels. Do they feel like they are part of the group? Do they feel included? Do they understand who they report to? Who are their peers? How does things work in the organization? Are they being part of it? And that is very important. And if they don't feel included by the end of the third day, we will have a problem, because they will feel that they're not really part of that group and that they came into a group but they are separated. If you actually include them, the chance that they are going to stay and be satisfied and happy is much higher. So make sure that from the get-go, you include in your onboarding checklist actions to include the new employee within the group, get them informed on what's going on, understand where they can get that information, and take care of them. Ask how they are doing. Regular check-ins are very important. Remember, it's training them on how to do things, but also include them in your culture and in your group that together will increase the productivity and the chance of retaining the new employee. If you want employees that perform well, make sure that you give them clear instructions and systems, and that you have the perfect onboarding system that combines how-tos with your culture to train them to be part of your group. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how to create those systems. So make sure to subscribe below and watch that video. My name is Adi. I'm a process consultant, and I'm here to help you systematize your business.